So, I don't have the energy to do a big intro, so let's just get to it. I'd like to say that you don't really need to watch my last video to understand this one, but there will be points that build on elements from it, so really quickly, hi, I'm BloodRain, I've taken over the channel, and this is my Voltron Rewrite series. The second biggest issue that VLD had was a seeming lack of understanding of how to flesh out characters. At the start of the series, our protagonists were very basic stereotypes. The sassy brains, the gentle giant, the flirty goofball, the angsty loner, the patient leader, the sleeping princess, and the eccentric uncle. One would expect that, over time, and especially once their group dynamic was thrown off, they would go through some pretty meaningful changes. And you'd be right. In all the wrong ways. By the end of the series, it didn't feel like the characters were more mature, it felt like they'd lost their personalities. They felt blank. I know that being dead inside is hip right now, but I don't think this is what people mean.
What is this? What is this? What is my life?
Yeah, I'm still salty. And it is with this salt as our guide that we shall now journey into the rabbit hole and build a new great kingdom from the ashes of the old. Let us begin. With complaining. But I think we're all used to that by now. Really quickly though, I would like to give a quick shout out to Cross and the Sin Squad for their videos dissecting the problems of both the show itself and the production. These guys were actually the videos that helped me make my rewrite, so thanks guys. A big part of the problem, in my humble opinion, was that the writers tried to introduce too many characters without quite enough time to do it well. In episode 1, which is technically 3 episodes in one, we have to meet and get invested in 7 main characters, plus the introduction of 3, technically 4, villains. Add in the fact that just getting to the castle was a hassle, the scramble to find the lions, the imminent attack from Sendak's ship, plus getting to form Voltron right off the bat, and there's just too much going on. Oh, and there are space mice that have a telepathic connection to Allura, and the castle also needs repairing in order to get the particle barrier working again. Also, magic wormholes are a thing. You see how easy it is to forget stuff in all this? The pilot wasn't terribly paced. It was actually rather good, enough so that while watching it with an uncritical eye, I didn't notice the problem. That seems to be what this show is truly good at, framing arcs and events in ways that will seem really good at a surface level so you won't bother to look deeper and ask questions like, how did the Blue Lion open a wormhole? It couldn't have sent a signal to the castle because it was too far away and had been dormant for thousands of years. I seriously doubt that there's a teledove in the lion, plus you need an Altean alchemist to power it anyway. How was Keith able to sense the Blue Lion when it was never going to be his, and in such a way that he can confidently describe it as something telling him to search? Yes, he's half Gara, but they were never confirmed to have any kind of quintessence sixth sense. We only ever see Alteans doing that. I did technically clear this up in my continuity, so if you're curious, click the link in the description to check out part 1. Why does sharing a sleep pod cause 2 or more beings' minds to be linked? Why does Keith mention Lance making fun of him for sensing the mumbo-jumbo energy in the desert when we never saw said teasing? Why is everyone here suddenly so nonchalant about risking their lives in a space war that has nothing to do with them? Hold on a tick. I think we just found the core of the problem. Motivation. These characters have little to no reason to fight before bonding with Alliance. In Avatar, yeah, you knew it was coming, Aang initially doesn't want to be the Avatar. The only reason he fights is to protect the people that he sees are hurting because of the Fire Nation, but he's still a kid who often gets sidetracked because he wants to have fun with his new friends. Katara goes with him because she both feels like Aang's her responsibility and she wants to find a waterbending teacher. Sokka goes with them because Katara is his responsibility, plus he's always wanted to fight in the war and this is his chance to prove himself as a warrior and leader. These motivations are critical because they give us so much more characterization than any clunky dialogue about presumed destiny ever could. Why someone fights is just as important as how they fight. And with all that out of the way, let's dive into the bulk of this video.
But what is a hero without a villain?
Do what I say and you'll see them again.
Yes, sir!
Sendak was the first antagonist we got in the show, and he was dwarfed. Immediately. Like, he didn't even stand a chance. Beating him was relatively easy, and he never quite had the gravitas I think he should have. Zarkon says he trained Sendak himself. He is basically Zarkon's second in command, so why isn't he treated like it? His ship is blown up in episode 1, he takes over the castle but doesn't get the chance to do anything with it, gets captured, and is then jettisoned into space,
Later, Nick!
and subsequently out of the entire show for 4 seasons, only to suddenly reappear and expect to be treated like a threat when he never was before. This is just sad. He ain't even reaching Sevica levels here. Wait. So let's change that. Instead, let's have him be the main antagonist for all of season 1, much like Zhao, with perhaps some grime thrown in. Again? Sendak is a competent leader and strong warrior, answering only to Zarkon and Hagar. He is the Emperor's hand. He enjoys combat, especially when he finds a worthy opponent, and while he isn't above doing reprehensible things, he does have honor and respect for any who prove to be a true warrior. He's like Tiger Claw. Are you kidding me? Haxus, his lieutenant, is the more sly and cruel one, similar to Starscream, but without the constantly trying to usurp power thing. This change would also allow Zarkon and Hagar to be built up more. With all the talk we hear about how terrible they are, we never really get to see it, which makes these claims feel somewhat hollow. The battle in Season 1's finale was good, but it and Zarkon's defeat in Season 2 came too soon. We should have only seen them from the shadows as they spoke, patiently gauging these new paladins and waiting to see whether to kill them or turn them. After all, pilots worthy of the lions are difficult to come by, and why waste the time trying to find others to take their places when mind control is so much simpler? This is the atmosphere they should have. Ancient, mysterious, and way too powerful for the heroes to face right now. Give me some Lady Bone Demon mind games mixed with Salem's creepy mother vibes. Give me citizens, even his own soldiers, trembling at the mere mention of the Dread Emperor. The first time we see Zarkon doing something important in person, it should be like,
Okay, cool, frick me then.
I want to be so terrified of these two that they are to me what Hades and Persephone were to the Greeks.
Like, don't speak her name, you might get her attention, scary.
They should have all their memories as well. The amnesia bit was completely unnecessary and added nothing. Them pretending to not be a couple, that sounds much more interesting. In front of others, evil conspirators who are simply partners and nothing more. In reality, evil power couple, because I want that for them. Now, I'd like to go deeper into the redo of their backstory, but I may be planning to write all this out in a fanfiction, so I might save that for then. That's a big if though, so let me know in the comments if you would like to read that. For now, I'll simply say that their motivations for being evil are a bit more complicated than just wanting quintessence. Zarkon is a fallen hero. Let him be portrayed like one.
Hold up, wait a minute, let me put some quarters in it.
To quickly dip into side character territory before getting into the true meat and potatoes of this video, other Gaular commanders and soldiers should mostly be fine as they are. However, I would like it if we got to see them in similar capacities as the Fire Nation soldiers or stormtroopers more often, like in Collection and Extraction and with Varkon and Morbach. The rebels should be a lot more colorful as well. Maybe some of them are bounty hunters who are only in it for the money, or freelance smugglers and scoundrels like Naima and Rolo, whose best interests just happen to align with our heroes for now. The Unalu should be a bigger deal too. They should still be the main power brokers on the black market, controlling the underworlds of many planets. Heck, they may even stand against Voltron, as they have a lot to gain as war profiteers. This ties into a bigger overall story structure problem I have with VLD. We don't see enough places. Not really. We don't spend time on worlds to witness the cruelty of the Galra, we only hear about it. We only get glimpses of fights instead of the true battle. How am I supposed to be invested in a conflict and dread losing even an inch of ground if I'm not allowed to fully feel the consequences of that loss? In Avatar, we were able to witness firsthand how poorly the Fire Nation treated the citizens of other countries and even their own. In VLD, we only partially see how the Balmerans are forced to slave away mining crystals for the Galra, killing the very creature they call home. We only see part of the Alkari population being blackmailed into constructing massive weapons of war, while the rest of them are happily living in the forest, building weapons of their own, never once thinking that they could use their powers to, infect the Galra's tech with a virus and take their planet back on their own? Seriously, y'all are technopaths and those were all drones. How did you lose? But back on topic.
It's time!
If I can learn to do it, you can learn to do it.
Something in your nose.
There's nothing to it.
Coran is perfect. Moving on. Okay, I would add that he is far more competent and a bit scarier than he appears. After Zarkon's betrayal and the death of Allura's mother, he sought to be a beacon of joy and hope for the young princess, and thus acted as a perhaps slightly insane but fun uncle/father figure, and becomes this for the whole team, including Shiro. He is the voice of wisdom and encouragement, and will kill anyone who hurts his kids. He's like a crazier Iroh mixed with Alfred. Hunk doesn't need much tweaking. I would simply establish that he and Lance are childhood friends, and show how, over the course of Season 1, he overcomes a lot of his fears. He should still find his resolve to be a paladin when he visits the Balmera, just have the realization of, this is why we're fighting, why we have to fight. Be a bit more dramatic in character building. He is the team's moral compass. They would die without him.
See, I was born a second child with the spirit running wild, running free.
Ah, our wonderful little gremlin. Again, not much change is needed. However, I would like to see her struggle some more, particularly with alien tech. In fiction, we always see the tech-smart character who is easily able to understand all the new and shiny technology they encounter. But that makes much less sense in this case because Altean tech, and Galran to an extent, is half magic. Coran even says,
"The ship might seem like a fantastical, magical creature to you, but it's really just a big embodiment of advanced supernatural technology that cannot be explained by science alone."
Magic.
And isn't it also a trope in fiction for science-y characters to have trouble understanding and accepting the existence of magic? I would like to subvert expectations in this regard and have the smart guy struggle with foreign tech. She needs to ask for help, as well as learn how to use the Alkari tech to connect the world around her instead of viewing everything through a screen. Boom. I just gave her an actual arc and character development. But finding her family was her arc. No, that's called conflict and motivation. Pidge never has to change or grow in any way to achieve her goal. Thus, it's not a character arc. Her reason for staying with the team needs to change too.
Dad used to tell me how close he was with his crew members. They were like family. Now I understand what he was talking about.
Get rid of it. Instead, she realizes that Keith was kinda right, and her leaving will jeopardize literally everyone. This is something I want for all the Earth guys. To, in their own time and ways, come to understand just what they're up against and the responsibility that they alone have to stop the Galra. Pidge realizes this, decides she won't lose anyone else, and agrees that the best way to find her father and brother is with the team. Through this, she begins to open up and feel more comfortable around her new family, something that was difficult before because she was basically just seeing the others as a means of finding her real family. This would be pushed further by the Alkari and their tech showing her just how connected everything is, allowing her to fully come out of her shell. P.S. This is kinda unimportant, but I would also like to give each character at least one side interest and quirk, like Hunk's cooking and stress baking, to help them feel more real. So, Pidge loves headbands. She has a collection of them back on Earth. They were and still are her favorite accessory, and she starts a new collection of space headbands once they find them all. She also has a hoarding problem and rambles when she's nervous or excited.
I'm just a man who's trying to go home, even after all the years away from what I've known. I'm just a man.
I'll say this up front. Shiro's PTSD was severely mishandled. It popped up maybe 2 or 3 times in Season 1, we saw some flashbacks that were more helpful than detrimental, and then it was just gone. Trauma don't work like that. With everything he went through in the past year, it should be way more present and somewhat debilitating. In fact, he should have no desire to go back into space, maybe even no desire to find Voltron. The Galra are more than just the enemy to him. They're his worst nightmare made flesh, the demons that haunt him relentlessly. When he saw Hagar again, he should have been paralyzed with fear. This would help communicate to the other characters and the audience just how terrible the Empire can be, and immediately set the stakes. In truth, what motivates Shiro to become a paladin is that he knows by the time the garrison actually starts listening to him and taking defensive measures, Earth will already be under the Empire's thumb and the Lions lost. He and this ragtag group of teenagers are the only ones who can stop them, and at his core, he's a soldier. His sense of duty and responsibility push him to fight to the end. That is what got him through the gladiator ring and Hagar's experiments, and it's what will allow him to lead these people that now look to him for guidance. However, set experiments and grueling fighting certainly took their toll on him, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Without the quintessence supplements Hagar was giving him, Shiro's body simply begins to fail. Coran tells him of this at the beginning of Season 2, after he emerges from the cryopod, though we, the audience, don't fully hear it, and he asks Coran to keep it between the two of them. He doesn't want to worry or distract the others. This pushes him to get Keith ready to take his place, and throughout the season we get these moments of Shiro trying to get him thinking like a leader, to prepare him. Keith, of course, doesn't understand this change in attitude or why his brother is being so avoidant when he asks about it. In the season finale, Shiro's body finally gives out. There is no clone saga because dumb. I would also ensure that his mentor role is a bit more emphasized. Shiro loves terrible movies, has an addiction to Varnellian cream puffs, and has zero tolerance for Slav and anyone like him.
It just takes some time, little girl, and a little out the right.
Good old Lancey Lance. What can I say that others haven't already complained about? He had so much potential for such an amazing arc, and what does he get? Life on a farm perpetually mourning the girlfriend he had only for a few weeks.
Oh, burn him again!
Seriously, what were they not thinking when they wrote this? Lance may not have been my favorite character, but he deserved better than this. So let's skip most of the criticizing and cut right to the correcting. We need to understand why he has this inferiority complex hidden by bluster. A short flashback, a talk between him and one of his teammates, something. Fans have theorized, probably correctly, that he was constantly being compared to others at the garrison who were better than him, particularly Keith, who Lance then chose as his target to blame and vent his frustration on. But we shouldn't have had to theorize, not for the whole show anyway. Again, motivation is key, no matter if it's why you want to save the world or why you hate that person's face. That hate could have then been compounded by him feeling like he's only ever a runner-up, only there to fill a spot because they didn't have anyone else better. He hides these insecurities with flirting and a sort of arrogance. Fake it till you make it, right? The humor is part of this, but he's also just a naturally funny guy, as well as a bit of a flirt. He's constantly trying to prove he's better, especially to his idol Shiro. Of course, while Shiro appreciates the praise, he also sees how much this glory chasing is negatively impacting the team. I can imagine him sending Lance and Keith on a solo mission or two as a way of forcing them to get along and to get them out of his hair floof for a little while. Space Ad needs some sleep. It would be on this mission that, one way or another, the problem children finally start working out their problems and gain a better understanding of each other, themselves, and to some extent, all of their friends. They still fight, of course, but it's more like brotherly banter than coworkers with a tiff who become friendly. Come Season 3, that feeling of being a second choice resurfaces, but it's less pronounced than in previous seasons. Over time, Lance realizes that he doesn't need to compare himself with Keith or anyone else. He simply needs to stay the course and be the best version of himself that he can be. Maybe that means being the Lancer instead of the leader, but just because he isn't the leader of the Paladins doesn't mean he can't be a leader in his own right. After all, Alfor was both king and second in command, and he was one of the greatest heroes in the universe. Why can't Lance follow in his footsteps? Lance loves garlic knots and most any water activity, is surprisingly good with languages, from wanting to know all the romance languages, and will die before using shoelaces. It's slip-ons or nothing.
Feel the light shining in the dark of night. Remember what we fought.
Okay, I know some of you are going to flame me for this, but Allura was kind of a nothing character. What? Hear me out! For basically the entire series, she was the bland, super nice, super competent, awesome warrior princess boss lady. As you can probably tell from my tone, that don't fly with me. I'm not saying someone can't have these traits, it's when they don't have any flaws to balance them out that's the problem. Oh, she discriminates against Gara for kind of valid reasons? Don't worry, that gets resolved in like 5 minutes. What's that? She made mistakes by helping to create a super powerful evil Voltron and letting the entity inside her making her do some rather questionable things that she doesn't get called out for? Darn that Lotor and Hagar manipulating her sweet, pure heart. Now she must sacrifice herself for no reason. Do you see the problem? Most of the time she can do no wrong is implied to somehow be in charge of all the paladins, even though she's not really qualified to be any kind of military leader. Diplomatic, yes. Military, no. And in the end, she gets a power-up that she doesn't really earn and basically becomes a magical MacGuffin. Whatever the writers need her to do, she just does it, with a very obnoxious pattern to boot. I can't do it! Yes, you can! Does it. I can't do it! Yes, you can! Does it. I can't! Oh wait, never mind, I can totally just do whatever I want now. Death is optional. This is no bueno. How am I supposed to feel connected to a character who has basically no flaws, doesn't have to truly work for anything, and removes all tension and stakes by eliminating the possibility of death? And let's be real, those trials were designed just to make Lotor look evil. They just were.
I couldn't have done it without Lotor.
You really could have. Honestly, he just got you there. He didn't do anything. He was literally just the chauffeur. Any flaws Allura did have either went away in 2 seconds or were ignored. As far as the show was concerned, she could do no wrong. Not only is that bad character writing, it's lazy character writing. I don't feel like I can say that she's a full-on Mary Sue, but dang it if she doesn't come close. Time to fix it. Starting off, Allura should be angry and grieving. I mean, she just woke up after what turns out to be 3,000 years, discovers that her entire planet and all of her people have been completely wiped out, and that the man responsible for all of it is still alive and has conquered almost the entire known universe. She should have fallen to her knees weeping, while Coran, the only other Altean left in existence, holds her as he desperately tries to keep back his own tears. We see her grief quickly replaced by rage as she is informed that Zarkon still lives. This would be the undertone of her character for most of Season 1 and maybe Season 2. On the surface, she's trying to be poised and dignified, but on the inside, she burns with a desire for revenge. Remember what I said earlier about her Galra prejudice being kind of valid? Yeah, I meant that. Keep in mind that Zarkon used to be a family friend, basically family himself. Allura may have grown up calling him Uncle Zarkon. To have someone that close to you suddenly murder everyone you know and love, then cheat death himself, would probably make anyone want revenge. Now her prejudice is shown throughout both of the first 2 seasons, and her turning on Keith makes even more sense. Okay, back to less depressing issues. She is not a weapons master! You're telling me that she had all this time on her hands to train with the extremely difficult to master whip, but she didn't have time to train as an alchemist?
I don't know. I haven't been trained.
Why not?
She's the princess. Why would she not be trained, especially when her father is a highly skilled alchemist himself? Also, I thought Alteans were peace lovers.
That combat simulator was set at a level fit for an Altean child.
What kind of kids do you have on that planet, woman? TLDR, the bow staff is all she knows how to use. She has had alchemist training, but due to the war, it was sparse and incomplete, though she tries to pretend that it wasn't. Her starting Bayard is the spear. As a way to try and deal with her grief, Allura presents herself to the paladins exactly how they see her. The tragic princess awoken from an ancient slumber to aid the chosen heroes on their path to defeating the great evil that plagues the land. In reality, she's somewhat arrogant and even condescending, often belittling the paladins when they fail and believing she could do a better job than any of them. None of the paladins call her out on this passive-aggressive behavior for various reasons, some of which being that they don't really know her well enough and are made to feel like they're of lower rank. It's not their place. The only one who dares to regularly contradict her is Keith, who has had to deal with high and mighty people like her his whole life and is having none of it. Oh hey, look, the two of them actually interact and have a relationship now. I know the fandom likes to paint her as the space mom, but really she's more like the space older sister who thinks she's in charge when the adults aren't around. Yeah, I don't think most of y'all ever realize this, but Allura is not an adult. She is a teenager, just like the rest of them. She is, at most, like 18 or so. Over time, of course, Allura sees the value of each of the paladins and comes to respect them, learning to let go of some of her anger and how to properly deal with her grief. She actively trains her magic and steadily becomes stronger. There are no cop-out power-ups because power creep. Every advancement she makes comes from hard work, just like everyone else. Once her turn to pilot a lion comes around, she has well and truly earned it. Allura likes fancy, sparkly things, can be a bit pouty and or whiny when things don't go her way, and has a fear of most large animals, dogs especially, as she never really came into contact with any in her youth. And last but certainly never least, our angsty Sasuke stand-in himself, Keith. I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Keith is my absolute favorite, but I will try to not make the plot fully revolve around him. Even though the series kind of needs a main character in order to make it work, and he's a bit of a prime candidate, but okay. First off, they couldn't even get the stereotype right. How? They want me to believe that Keith is a hothead, but he never has an angry outburst that wasn't provoked for good reason. He yells at Pidge when she says she's leaving, but we find out later that this is an emotional trigger for him, because his biggest fear is having people leave. He thought that the bond the 5 of them shared as paladins was something incredibly special, and probably thought the others felt the same, only to have them throw that back in his face. He only snaps back at Lance because he accuses him of something that clearly wasn't his fault, and has been kind of a jerk to him from the jump for seemingly no reason. I would have snapped too, honestly. Anytime we see him yell at the others, it's mostly either because he's going through some inner turmoil, or Lance is very consciously and intentionally provoking and or insulting him. Like when he called Keith a coward when he was the only one using his head. That's actually a pretty consistent thing we see. Keith being the one telling others to calm down or being the calm one in tense situations.
We're inside a disgusting worm. There's no way to sugarcoat it. We're gonna need that big brain of yours if we want to make it through. Will you be alright? I said, will you be alright?
Okay. I'll be okay.
But he's the hothead. Yeah, sure, whatever you say. There are 2 times I can think of where he goes off the rails. When he's fighting Zarkon and chasing Lotor. And it's just weird. He gets this kind of crazed, hyper-focused battle rage that makes him ignore all logic and outside voices, which felt very jarring to me because he'd never given any indication of this kind of behavior or mental state before or even after these episodes, and then no one ever brings it up in any way afterward. What even were those scenes? However, this characterization could still work from an in-universe perspective. I mentioned in Allura and Lance's sections how they put on masks so others will see them the way they want to be seen instead of how they actually are. This is the opposite for Keith. Most of the time he tries not to care what people think of him and is devoted to completing his missions efficiently, which can give him a negative air of superiority and cold harshness. The others perceive him as a hot-headed, reckless loner who wants nothing to do with them, a view that was more or less solidified when he initially refused to look for the other lions and join the team. But this couldn't be further from the truth. He learned early in life that most people saw him negatively no matter what he did, so why bother trying to make them see anything else? He has tunnel vision on missions because he doesn't want to waste time and potentially get his team hurt. He didn't want to be a paladin because doing so would throw Shiro, his best friend, the only person who would stay with him through good and bad times, the only person on the planet who he considered family and just got back from a year of being declared killed in action, right back into the war that took him away from Keith in the first place and nearly tortured him to death. Almost everything he does is either because of a trauma in his past or his fierce and undying loyalty to his team, something that is shown when he's convinced to help find the lions by both Shiro and Pidge, who he recognizes as someone who has also lost family and will stop at nothing to get them back. Keith knows that feeling all too well, and if his brother is going to run off into some crazy space war, there's no way he's going to let him do it alone. It's this sense of dedication that I want to be shown as one of Keith's defining characteristics. Once you earn his loyalty, you have it forever. Unless, of course, you break his trust. Do you know what the worst part of Keith's half-Galra reveal was? We never saw the others' reactions to it. We just cut back in the next episode where everyone knows and is completely cool with it. Does no one have any thoughts on this? Why are Hunk and Allura the only ones reacting here? Shiro was brutally tortured by the Galra. Pidge had her family taken away and imprisoned by them. Lance nearly died because of them. And Coran was Zarkon's friend too. Doesn't Allura's fellow genocide survivor have an opinion on this?
I guess being part Galra is a big deal.
You guess it's a big deal. You guess? No, why would that be a big deal? It's just a major revelation about your heritage that could lead to a massive character arc where allegiances are questioned, but no, it's nothing major at all. Season 3 should have been a sort of darkest hour for the show as a whole, but particularly for Keith. He just lost his brother for a second time, this time permanently. Found out he's half enemy race, and is being forced to fill Shiro's shoes as leader of the most powerful weapon in the universe, which in turn is leading an entire rebellion to defeat a universe-encompassing empire. Add to this the fact that he's hiding his heritage from his team, which is preventing them from forming Voltron because all the paladins need to be fully open to one another in order for it to work. And there's a new player on the field in Prince Lotor, who somehow knows Keith's half Galra and is using this information to play mind games with him and get him on Lotor's side. Then, after finding out about his heritage, Allura and everyone else, to varying degrees, reject him. His greatest fear is made real. I would be having a mental breakdown if I were him. And he does, but way too late in the series with way too little impact. This scene should have happened so much sooner. Here in Season 3, in fact. He needs to hit his breaking point, because only then can he fully open up to his friends and be forged back together into the leader he was always meant to be. By the end of the season, he's healing, but trauma doesn't go away overnight, and there's still a lot of work to be done. In Season 4, we see him fully heal. Or at least, mostly. We also discover that Shiro is now Obi-Wanning it from inside the Black Lion, so that helps. Keith enjoys extreme sports, particularly rock climbing, especially if it's outdoors. His food motto is, "I'll try anything once," and has thalassophobia. Why did I agree to do this? Okay, let's speed through the morally gray characters before I want to claw my voice box out.
There's something inside me that I can't explain. A burning desire that drives me insane. Feeling bad never looks so good.
Be king undisputed, respected, saluted, and seen for the wonder I am. Yes, my teeth and ambitions are bad. Be prepared.
Starts as an anti-hero / anti-villain antagonist who's always 5 steps ahead of everyone else, prods at his enemies to find their weaknesses, then strikes, and is an all-around charismatic, flamboyant Loki mixed with Erebos. He also has magic because his mother is one of the most powerful magic users alive. Why would he not? He just doesn't use it much because it reminds him of her. He specifically targets Keith because he's half Galra, and I need this rivalry to be front and center because we were robbed of that in VLD. From the moment we knew Lotor was a half-blood, I and most other fans were waiting to see these two fight. We hoped it would happen. We expected it to happen. We wanted it to happen. And we got nothing. Absolutamente nada. They don't even really interact ever. There are maybe 2 scenes where they're in the same place in person and they don't so much as talk to each other. No. Rivals. Rivals all the way. Also, Lotor needs to be smarter. Like, he's this world's Tron kind of smart, but with a more Xanatos personality. Straight up Slade-level mind games. There is no madness by an overdose of quintessence cop-out, because
Garbage.
over time, with help from his generals, who he truly deeply cares about and would never kill, and the paladins, he gets a redemption arc, and it's great.
I'm a straight up villain, yeah, no villain, yeah, no villain, straight up villain, yeah, no villain, yeah, no villain.
We actually see their backstories so we can actually sympathize with them, because what the Quiznack is this?
Hear my words. Remember how we first met. We were all so full of hate and rage. Half-breeds rejected by the Galra.
Failure!
Aksha is the closest to Lotor and his confidant in most everything. Ezor and Zethrid basically stay the same. Just make their pasts interesting enough that I don't hate them for needlessly taking up screen time. Narti does not die because that was way too cruel. I would have just killed the cat. No, don't say anything, I just heard it. But you get the sentiment, right? Her death only happened to demonize Lotor, and I want her to live, so live she shall. And that pretty much wraps it up for the characters. Those that I care about and are relevant for the plot, at least. There is a lot of plot stuff wrapped up in some of these, so I tried to be careful not to spoil too much if, as I said at the beginning, I decide to fanfiction this monstrosity. I may bring in other side characters from the older Voltron properties, like Manset, because I think he would be fun to have as the team's main contact in the black market. Maybe even Mayhawk, because I want to tap into creepy scientist territory. You know, not every character has to be super deep, and I'm sorry if this video felt more like rambling than a professional analysis and rewrite, but the character writing in this show, the more I looked at it, the more frustrated I became, and this is really the only outlet I have. screaming at strangers on the internet. Because this is my life now. Somehow. Well, before I sign off, I would like to invite all of you guys to post any questions or comments down below so I can then address them in the third and final installment of this year's series, which will be basically a sort of Q&A. Feel free to ask whatever you want. I just can't promise that you'll get all the answers you want if they have spoilers in them. But don't let that make you hesitant about asking. And I mean about anything. Don't forget to let me know if you would like to read a full fanfiction of The Rise of Voltron, which is the title of this rewrite, because if enough of you want it, I will probably write it. I think that's gonna do it for today, thank goodness. If y'all like what we're doing here on the channel, would you kindly show it by liking, subscribing, and ringing the notification bell so you always know when we post. Later, Paladudes.